Israelite Prepper here, and this is Mrs. Israelite Prepper. And what I wanted to do is just talk to you guys a little bit about biblical marriage, because we go on Facebook and other social media platforms, and you look at certain groups, and people have so many different ideas, about biblical marriage, and people have their own personal opinions. And I think what happens a lot of time is that we get wrapped up in the emotion of marriage and our roles and what we need to do. And I'm going to talk to Mrs. Israelite Pepper here about going from rebellion to submission. Rebellion to submission, because in today's society, in our Western culture, in our Roman society, submission is a bad word. It has like a lot of negative connotations. Now, not to the Hebrew Israelite woman, it doesn't have a bunch of bad connotations and stuff. But as soon as you mention the word submission, then people have these different ideas, like, well, what if the man is like this, and what if the man is like that? And that is not even the question. That's not even the question. So the assumption is, well, I'll submit if, and you have all these different attitudes about it, and it gets a little bit irritating or whatever. But we're gonna just make a short video talking about your journey and this whole idea of submission. But first, we're gonna start with rebellion and a rebellious wife and things like that. So just give me your thoughts on that first.
On a rebellious wife?
Mm-hmm.
Personal thoughts? Or
personal thoughts.
Well,
you can get into the biblical part, in a little bit, but what are your personal thoughts?
My personal thoughts on a rebellious wife is it's unfortunate. Personal experience with being a rebellious wife is, before coming into the truth, I can say that I was a rebellious wife. I didn't know that I was a rebellious wife.
And that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah. I know that I had some influences through college. College tells you to be independent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so when I was going through and getting my bachelor's degree, they tell you to be independent, have your own mind, freedom of speech, and free thinking,
girl
and all
power.
of that. Yeah, girl power. And then I had family members. I have several family members.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my family, I can say that, with the exception of my grandfather and my grandmother, they're probably the last leg of my family that is patriarchal. Starting with my aunts, my family has become mostly matriarchal.
Sure.
And then with my generation, it's mostly matriarchal, with lots of single mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And my two of my aunts are married, and then my mom is not. Well, she is now,
Mm-hmm.
but or maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really keep up with her,
Mm-hmm.
but she is quite matriarchal. She runs her home,
Mm-hmm.
and so there was a lot of encouragement back then, and this has been a while ago.
Right.
Lots of encouragement. They did not like the fact that we had a patriarchal household.
Yeah.
And it was frowned upon with my family, and I was seen as being oppressed. And
Yeah.
and it was looked upon as you were doing something to me, you were
Right.
taking away
Right.
my rights.
Right.
And
Let me interject one thing.
Yeah.
One of the things, while you were telling our story, because our story goes back 2 decades. Okay,
Yeah.
we've known each other
Yeah.
over 2 decades. We've been together. That we have a long history.
Yeah.
But one of the things that she was saying, and we'll point out one example, was that we were at a time where I handled all the finances.
Yes.
She didn't have to. I paid all the
Right.
bills. I paid all the bills and took care of that. Now, it was a time where she didn't have to think about the bills.
Right, right.
They were just paid. She
I
went
did
and
it.
flipped the switch and the lights
The
came
lights
on.
were on,
You know?
and the most I had to do was, hey, can we go out to dinner? And you would think about, you would say yeah, or you would say no. And so I remember when they found out that I did not know anything about the finances, that was a big problem.
Right.
My mom was like, is your name on the bank account? And I said, no.
Yeah.
Your name needs to be on the bank account. And I was like, okay. And so she was like, you need to ask for this and you need to ask for that. And I was young, so I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it started conflict in our home because I started saying, well, I need this and I need that. And he was like, well, you have what you need, you know, I provide you with what you need. And so then I became this rebellious wife because my mom started whispering in my ear, you're getting ready to graduate from college and you need to control your own money, you know, because at that time, you know, I wasn't working, I was a student.
Right,
And so then it became, well, where are you going to put your money? You're getting ready to graduate from college. Are you going to put your money in his bank account?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was an argument at a family function because my uncle, he said they're going to continue to do what they've always been doing. And my mom was saying no, because she has her own money.
See, so when the fellas step up, say, hey, look, they're just going to do what they've been doing. They're going to run their household how they see fit. And the matriarch says, no, that's not how we're going to do it. Go ahead.
So then when I did graduate, I became very rebellious because I listened to my mom and I wanted to control my own money. So I wanted my own apartment and I wanted to pay my own bills. And so my loving husband, even though he did not want that for me, he said, okay, go on out there, see what it's like. So me with my rebellious nature, I went on out there. I got my own apartment and I went out, got my own bank account, and I was being very rebellious. And he said he did not want to have a woman under his roof that he could not tell.
Basically, if I could not be the man in the relationship, if I can't be the husband, if I can't be the head, then I don't want the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to reverse roles.
Yeah.
Okay.
You never gave me a get or anything like that.
No, I never.
Just basically, if I was gonna continue to be rebellious, then you were gonna allow me to go out there and see what it was like. And I got out there, and it didn't take long for me to figure out that it was hard out there. You know, I was trying to pay bills. I had to figure out due dates, and I had to figure out how to pay things, when to pay things, car note and all that. I jumped up and decided I was going to get a car, and the stress of all that, and I did not like it. I realized why men pay bills and why we don't. I ended up with all kinds of stress-related illnesses very quickly because we were not designed to do that. And so I learned very intimately and very quickly the results of a woman who is rebellious and trying to go her own way. So I came back home.
Yeah, got herself some debt.
Yeah, I got some debt.
Got a little bit of debt, and came back home.
I came back home.
So we're gonna switch gears a little bit and going from rebellion to submission, because that's a huge change. That's a huge transformation. It's an attitude switch. It's a mental switch. But I want you to hear from someone who went through that. Going from rebellion to submission. So how's your journey been? Everything you've been learning about being a submissive wife and studying the word. Anything you want to say about being submissive?
Being a submissive wife, I can't say that there's a lot of peace in that, and being submissive, a lot of women, I see posts and stuff
Yeah, talk about
you
it.
know, whenever someone posts about being submissive, there's a woman who will come back and say, well, I'll be submissive if. And to me, that is just so bizarre. Number one, you never have to worry about an if you married a righteous man. I view my relationship with Israelite Prepper in such a different way. It just grows more and more intense and deeper each day. And she talks about it's like, as I view him, it's like I'm viewing the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and my relationship with him, and it mirrors my relationship with
Mm-hmm.
with Yeshua and the Most High, and it's amazing to me. And when I submit to you, it's like I'm submitting to them, and trying to give you a but it's like trying to give a but to the Most High, you know. When he asks you to do something,
Mm-hmm.
you don't say but
Yeah, exactly. And what she means by that is that, we look at the protocol that we
Yeah.
see, in the Bible. Obviously, we can look at, it's the Father, it is Christ, then it's the husband, it's the wife, and it's the children, and all that. And then, of course, you guys already know the scriptures where it tells a woman, submit to your husband, submit unto your own husband, and all that stuff. We see that. We see that head, that covering, and that authority there. But see, the other thing about that covering is that it protects you. And I think women forget that, hey, you know what, you're being, protected.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as I'm not saying, hey, help me go rob this bank. See, I'm not asking her to do something that is sinful. Then whatever she does, even if I make a mistake, even if I say, okay, let's pack up and move to Montana, right? That's not a sin. But she may, in her heart of hearts, may not want to go. And she may even say, why are we going to make Montana? I just feel like we need to go to Montana. Okay. Now, in her heart of hearts, she might disagree with that, but ultimately we're just moving to Montana. Now, I can make all kinds of different decisions. I can make a bad financial decision or whatever. And it doesn't mean that she likes it, but at the end of the day, she can stand before the Father because of her covering. She's saying, you know what? I just obeyed my husband. This is what he wanted to do. I'm just following him.
Yeah, you asked me to do something. I know that how you are with me, you're always looking for the best for me. You're always looking out for my good. So if you ask me to do something, I know somewhere in there's something good in that for me. And that's how our Father is. When he asks us to do something, sometimes we may not know why, but we don't ask him why. We do it. So that's how we are with our husbands. If he asks us to do something, we do it.